we're going to talk about all of the Summer Game Fest news after we talk about the Final Fantasy VII stuff. But let's talk about the Final Fantasy VII stuff. So first of all, they got me with this Street Fighter announcement, as I figured they would everyone else. I thought, I was pretty like 95% sure that there was going to be remake stuff at Summer Game Fest, because Square's been quiet, not even just with remake, but with everything for like 2 years. And all these events, they've just had like pretty much nothing to say at all about anything. And they came out, they did the Tifa announcement for Street Fighter, which is insane, by the way. We'll talk about that later. But then obviously Jeff does like the, okay guys, see you next year, like completely sell it. They're like, yeah, see you later. We're not going to hear anything else from Square. See you later. We'll see you when you have more announcements. And then they hit us with the remake announcement, and then they bring them back on stage. So they totally got me with that, because I was almost positive there was going to be remake news. And then when they said that, I thought it was like, okay, put down the Final Fantasy fans gently, let them know, like, there's not going to be anything. And they're like, just kidding. So that was pretty great. I'll give Jeff credit for that. So we're just going to go through the whole trailer
battle
and talk about it. Let me know how the volume is.
Long ago,
it's kind of loud
a
at the moment.
shadow fell upon our planet. Guided by calamity, one man sought dominion through reunion. By his will, a star fell. A meteor called forth to bring ruin to all. But our planet answered, awakening mighty weapons.
So now we're seeing the actual weapons, because in Rebirth, we saw a little bit of the weapons, but they weren't really weapons. They were like sea creatures, and there was the accessories that were based on the weapons. So everyone was like, we're not going to get weapons. They're like, oh, we're going to get these baby weapons, and the equipment is basically the weapons, and they're not even going to put the weapons in the third game. They're putting the weapons in the third game. As you can see, they're putting the weapons in the third game. And all their
now, hope endures in those who
all
fight.
their majesty. There's our party. Look at them. Where's Kate Sith? Moogle there. Did the Moogle get left behind? This looks like the top of the crater. So what happened to the Moogle? Did we lose the Moogle to Schizo? Did he eat him or something? What happened?
Long story short, world's in trouble.
So here we go. We're showing off the Highwind right away, which is crazy. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I think about this, but keep in mind, like, the Tiny Bronco was kind of a reveal in Rebirth. We had no idea that we were able to just Tiny Bronco anywhere we wanted till near the end of Rebirth. And here we're just starting off right away with the Highwind.
Let's give Sephiroth the beating of a lifetime.
Also, the way everyone was memeing about the way Vincent jumps off the Highwind, he just does like the coffin drop. Love that. So we have old area. We have Wutai, of course. We've all been saying Wutai is going to be a massive part of Part 3. We're getting some Vincent here. We'll talk about that during the gameplay, but showing some of the Vincent stuff, showing some of the Cid stuff. They knew what we wanted to see. We got Tifa, Black Mage. We'll talk about that in a minute, because they go over this more later. So we have Shinra just fighting a weapon here, who is not... This is like the baby weapon, I guess. So I think the weapons are going to be way more involved. It's not just going to be Diamond Weapon, Sapphire Weapon, and then Ruby Emerald at some point. This is just straight up like another weapon, baby weapon, some kind of weapon. And we're just like Monster Hunter style, just running at it and fighting it.
As far as I can tell, these things don't distinguish between friend and foe.
Save the planet.
So that's pretty sick. This is him. So
Between friend and foe.
I didn't look at this before. What is he blowing up here? Is this just Shinra stuff? There's like a bridge. This almost looks like Gungaga, but it's probably Medial. It's got to be Medial, right? So we have a weapon attacking Medial, but it's not Ultima Weapon?
And foe.
Save the planet by
Or Ultimate Weapon, I should say.
killing.
So apparently Medial's getting blasted by multiple weapons throughout the game. We have Ruby just chilling here, like
Save the planet by killing her protectors.
not post-game. Just, he's not even in the desert. He's just chilling.
Let us put your faith to the test,
And Ultimate looks awesome.
Cloud.
Okay, so a couple things to talk about because this is like the story trailer, so we'll talk story because the other one is more gameplay. Couple things to talk about with the story trailer. Well, actually, let's wait because there's something else I want to talk about with this as well. The big reveal of the name Revelation. So this is so funny to me because we had like a thing in our Discord where everyone was trying to guess the name. We went back and I don't think a single person came up with Revelation, which is so funny because it's pretty obvious. Like that's probably one of the more obvious ones, but seems like a lot of people didn't think about it. Maybe it was just too obvious, or I mean, it does kind of sound like a I don't know, like Matrix Reloaded style name. On the one hand, I feel like it's if this were a different game and it was called Revelation, I'd probably call it a bit lame because Revelation is a name that's used for a lot of different games. But I think it really works for this. Both the biblical implications of the last book of the Bible, but also like fitting with the story, the revelation of the story and what they're going to do with the remake trilogy and how it's going to be different. The fact that they even came up with an RE name that fits is wild to me because we've been talking for ages about how there's really no way they're going to come up with an RE name that works other than Reunion, and they can't use Reunion. So how are they going to make this work? And I think they did. I think they came up with an RE name that actually works. It's maybe not the best name of all time, but it actually works. So I give them like super amount of credit for that.
Let you down.
So this is...
And I won't let you down.
That's the only...
promise.
That's the only like little
And I won't
tidbit
let
we
you
get
down.
of Aerith, and we don't see Aerith
Without
at
you
all.
guys.
So I found that pretty interesting as well. We get, because the third game is going to be a lot about Cloud and his mindset and him coming to terms with things.
And I won't let you down.
And they didn't show that at all in the story trailer, which I thought was interesting. So it's either the beginning of the game is not going to be a lot about Cloud's mind, and instead it's going to be about the party and stuff, and then we're going to get to the point where it's about Cloud's mind. Or they just didn't want to show any of that because people are still playing Rebirth, and also we'll see at the end here that they obviously put Remake and Rebirth on sale. And so I was mixed between, are they trying to show us that Aerith is not going to be like overtaking the entire beginning of the game, or are they just trying to not show that because of Rebirth just came out on Switch and everything? So I don't know. But no Aerith at all in the trailer, no Chadley at all in the trailer, which is funny. And actually the next trailer goes a lot more in depth with like what we think the story's going to be, but way more focus on like the weapons and stuff and just the overall world, which I think is fine. But I just thought it was interesting that the trailer, they're mostly just focusing on the party. Once again, the Moogle's missing. Where's the Moogle? What happens to the Moogle? Are we gonna lose the Moogle? We didn't lose them in Temple, so go back to the Sephiroth flash where the part on this part of here, I think it was. This part. Are you just like the part where he has the materia or what? This is obviously just kind of giving us a little bit Sephiroth's gonna be messing with Cloud the whole beginning of the game. Oh yes, him holding the materia here. I think it's just, Sephiroth mind tricks are going to happen. There's no real, can't delve too deep into it until we know more about it, but yeah, he's seemingly holding the holy materia, not the black materia. So that's interesting. And there's a little bit of a hint of a Genova fight in the next trailer. And so maybe we go back and get it. Who knows? Maybe the holy materia has more of a direct, like maybe we actually go and get the holy materia or find the holy materia, or when we go back to the city, we have to actually fight to like keep it safe or something, instead of it just being underwater and they just kind of ignore it like in the original. So that'll be interesting to see. So let me skip forward here because they talk a little bit. They bring out Vincent's voice actor. And then they show a gameplay trailer. And I think the gameplay trailer actually says more about the story than the story trailer. So let's look at this.
As we reunite with our heroes, the meteor looms in the skies above. A constant reminder of your mission and the grave threats you'll confront as you embark.
So showing Rufus right away, really interesting. I really hope there's a lot to do with Rufus because they built up Rufus way more in Rebirth, but he didn't actually do a lot. So I feel like this is finally when Rufus is going to do some big stuff, and there's going to actually be a serious revelation with Shinra, and not just we go beat him up at the end of the game and that's it.
Upon your journey.
I hope there's a huge war in Wutai. I mean, they were showing a little bit with like the Shinra fighting the weapon, but I'm hoping there's a huge war in Wutai and we have to solve that and all that stuff. That's the hope.
And face the epic conclusion of the remake series. Aboard the Highwind.
Is this
epic conclusion?
Do you think this is in the live stream scene? Or is this something else entirely, I wonder? Also, like, what is happening? Cloud is like not it looks like Sephiroth is moving him like a marionette. Like Cloud is broken and he's like moving him to get him to do what he wants. Series. Like, what is happening there?
Aboard the Highwind, your very own airship, and the pride
so
of
listen,
the Shinra fleet.
Listen to what he
Take
says.
To the skies and witness our most expansive open world yet. From the outskirts of Midgard to the sun-drenched Medial archipelago to the warrior nation of Wutai. Simply pick a direction and set sail. But how can you be expected to protect the whole world at once? You'll need to cover ground fast.
I am not jumping. No way, no how.
Don't worry. These parachutes are top of the line. Pull the cord and pop. You'll be floating through the air like a feather.
At any moment in the open world, simply pilot the Highwind to your destination and take a leap of faith. With the wind rushing past, you'll descend seamlessly from the sky above to the ground below. Where will the winds guide you first? That freedom is in your hands.
Okay, so a lot to say about this. This is what I wanted to talk about the most. So first of all, it seems like this is actually the Tifa section, which is interesting because Cloud's not here. Second of all, he says that wherever you go, it's up to you, and they were very like specific to say that. Obviously, they're saying like, oh, you can fly the Highwind wherever you want and drop down wherever you want. That's just their way of saying like it is indeed an open world. There's no boundaries. You can just fly and land wherever you want. That we all figured was probably going to happen, right? But the part that he says, wherever you want to go, it's your choice. That's really interesting because I am interested to see if this game is not linear, like at all. If the game basically, we go through Great Glacier, we get up to the crater, we lose Cloud, and then the game just opens up into this like you can go anywhere. And what he says after this is
No
about
matter
the
your destination,
characters.
To defeat your enemy, you'll need a fighting chance. And that starts with your trusted allies. At long last, with the world teetering on a...
Okay, he doesn't say it yet. He says it a bit later, but he says that like each area is related to a character. So there's a chance that you could just go to Wutai and do like Wutai and then learn more about Yuffie, yada yada. And then you go to like Nibelheim and do stuff for Vincent and Tifa. And then you go to Rocket Town and do stuff for Sid. And then all of that kind of gets you to the level where you can then do the end game, which would be like Midgar Raid Crater. So basically kind of like doing the huge materia quest, but making it the whole game kind of. But then how do we get Cloud back as well? So it's, I don't exactly know how it's going to work. Maybe it's more of kind of like Bruh just said. So perhaps the story itself is fixed, but then you can go do the side quests to make specific characters stronger whenever you want. And basically the entire world is just open to you right away, but you have to go to a specific place to move the story. I'm not really sure, but I think what we can say for sure is it's not going to be like Rebirth, where you're basically on a path and you're just opening up different parts of the map as you go, and then at the end, you can explore all of it. It seems like you can just explore all of it right away. We're probably going to be on a path up to Crater and lose Cloud, but then at that point, everything's just going to be open, and you can just go do a bunch of side quests that are all kind of related to each character. And then whenever you want to move the story forward, you go to somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe the huge materia quest. Maybe you go to the first couple huge materia quest stuff and then get Cloud back and then do like Sub, Rocket. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because I've been saying for a while that Disc 2 is pretty short in comparison to Disc 1. So you do Great Glacier, and then you do Crater, and then you have Tifa, and you do a very quick run to Medeal. You do a very quick Fort Condor and train thing, and then it's just Underwater Reactor, Rocket, Raid, Crater, and you're at the end of the game. So they're going to have to really extend things somehow. But also, my concern, which I'm not that concerned because I think they'll figure it out, but my concern is that the live stream scene is the climax of the original game. It's what everything builds up to. It's what the very first scene builds up to. That is the climax of the game. And because this starts off at Great Glacier, seemingly, unless they change it, the live stream scene would only be like halfway through this game or less. But we can't necessarily make it earlier, because then you just don't have Cloud for like half the game. So if I were creating this game, what I would probably do is I would have the live stream scene happen not when we get Cloud back, which I don't know how you spin that. But somehow get Cloud back, but not have the live stream scene happen yet, and have it happen closer to the end. Because it's just going to feel weird if the live stream scene happens too early. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think that this game is probably going to be really different than the original. But I'm okay with that, because I've said before, the original second half, you do not need this game to match the second half of the original at all. You like, all you do is go around doing huge materia quest and then jump to the end of the game. So I think they can go crazy and make the game however they want. I don't think anyone's like, the huge materia quest has to be the same or else I'm going to be angry. Like, the huge materia quest was kind of botched anyways. So I think they can do whatever they want. I think instead of doing huge materia quest, we can have like the weapons be the huge materia, or it's just us and Shinra trying to fight the weapons, or the Wutai War even takes over and makes that like the big part of the story. I'm okay with them completely changing Disc 2. I just think that Glacier and Crater should be the same, and somehow we have to work the live stream scene so that it's later, because it's supposed to be the climax of the story. So I don't want that to just happen 5 hours in, you know. So we'll see.
Blade's Edge. Everyone assembles at Cloud's side, forming an epic ensemble of heroes, each with their own story that brings you closer together than ever. But a good unit needs more than friendship to save the day. It needs a disciplined combat regimen.
So I really like what they said there about, I saw the Omnichair too, I'll bring it in a minute. I really like what they said there about each character having their own story. So they're really going to focus on each character, kind of like they did in Temple. And I really like that. We have to keep that going, because that's one thing that I dislike about the original game, is that with many Final Fantasies, the side characters kind of fall off near the end of the game, and it's more just about Cloud and Tifa and Aerith. So I really like that they're sticking to this path of, we're going to have each character have their moment. We're going to have Yuffie and Wutai. We're going to have Sid and Rocket Town. And hopefully each character gets their own like big moment to shine throughout the game, not just at the start and then like the rest of the game is just Cloud and Tifa, but throughout the entire thing up to the end, we're getting big moments with each character.
The hybrid battle system, established in Remake and refined in Rebirth, is perfected in Revelation.
So they say that the battle system is perfected, but I don't know exactly what's changed here. They show a little bit, though.
Putting even more power in your hands. In fluid, real-time action, seamlessly switch between party members to even the odds.
So we could already do that.
Then, when the fight calls for strategy, enter tactical mode to unleash a suite of powerful new spells
So we could already do that.
and abilities. Activate devastating synergies with your companion.
Now, this is a bit different. The summons definitely have something going on here. We're not sure what, but there's definitely something going on with the summons. Like, each character gets multiple, and there's different, like, maybe you equip them to different stats or something, or like, I'm not really sure exactly. If they talked about this later in like an interview, I'd be curious to hear, because I didn't see anything. This could also just be, this one heals you, and this one does fire damage, and this one does earth damage, or I don't even know what that, maybe it knocks them up, I don't know. But it seems like the summons are a bit more than just summon them for an attack and get stats.
And of course, call on mighty summoned entities that can turn the tide of battle.
Stagger damage, maybe, yeah. Or maybe, yeah, maybe you equip...
Stating synergies with your companions.
Maybe you equip one to, like, support, one to attack, and one to defense
And
or
of course,
something.
Call on mighty summoned entities that can turn the tide of battle.
So that's just Hellfire when he leaves, I guess. And then, they show another. They separated this into like 4 different things because they wanted to do a specific thing for Vincent.
I won't return to my coffin until we've put Sephiroth in his.
Vincent is a deft gunslinger, capable of delivering precise, high-yield shots.
This area, by the way,
Vincent is a deft.
I don't know why, but this gives me the ending of Crisis Core vibes. Remember the final section of Crisis Core, like the cave you have to go through? That's what this looks like to me.
Gunslinger, capable of delivering precise, high-yield shots. But there's more to this secretive former Turk than meets the eye. The result of experimentation at the hands of Shinra. Vincent can transform into the Galleon beast at the press of a button, gaining tremendous power while transformed. And when combined with the skills of a certain ace pilot...
So this is really interesting. Apparently he only combines with Sid, from what he was saying. So, like, if you have Vincent in your party, you're trolling if you don't also have Sid in your party, which is weird.
Their high-impact synergies disrupt the fight with ferocious results.
That also just seems completely overpowered.
Leap and Lancer, the Dashing Dragoon, the one and only Sid Highwind.
I love that he said Dragoon, by the way. I was saying I hope that Sid goes full Dragoon, and then he literally says the word Dragoon.
Sid Highwind, the cantankerous pilot extraordinaire, joins the party and their mission to defeat Sephiroth. Sid's command of his lance allows him to rapidly close the distance for powerful strikes, or engage in sweeping area of effect attacks to bring a whole host of enemies to heel. But to fully control...
So I'm excited about Sid, but I really need more. I need Sid to be different because that just sounds like Yuffie. Yuffie also closes the distance with a push of a button and also does a bunch of AoE. So, like, we need something else going on with Sid. We need him to have, like, his own thing. And that's part of the problem I had with Yuffie in general, is that Yuffie just does everything. So whenever we add a new character, I'm like, great, but Yuffie can do that and more. So hopefully either they nerf Yuffie or Sid gets something else to make him special. At least he can ride the Galleon Beast, so I guess that's a benefit that Sid has.
The battlefield. Skill with a weapon only gets you so far. To further augment your combat capabilities, try this on for size. Function integrated...
So this is huge. This is the big thing. This is the big change, because before they were saying we perfected the battle system, and I was like, okay, but the battle system looks the same, other than maybe the summons being different. This is the big change. Job system / dress sphere / whatever, these fits. So I think this is huge. I do wonder how this is different from the weapon system, because this was kind of what the weapon system did in Rebirth. You had, like, Cloud had a weapon that was high attack, or he had a weapon that was high magic, or he had a weapon that was high defense, and then you would upgrade the weapon to the point where basically the Buster Sword was the tank weapon, you had the magic sword, you had a attack sword. So, and each character kind of had like a weapon that was specifically designed for magic, et cetera, et cetera. So does this go alongside that? Like, am I just putting on, like,
suitwear, or the
Tifa has a black mage, right?
Customize.
So do I just equip black mage and then equip her weapon that also does more magic damage, and then that's just kind of like what everyone's going to do? Is there any reason to equip the black mage fit, but then maybe have an attack damage weapon? You know, how's this going to work? Is it going to be super obvious what weapon you equip with each fit? Also, it would be cool if you had loadouts where if you equip Black Mage, she just automatically equips the weapon that goes with it. You know what I mean? So you could have like a loadout of, here's my magic loadout. Tifa has Black Mage, her magic attacking weapon, and maybe even like a materia loadout, but that might be too much because then you would take materia from someone else. But pretty much anything that is Tifa only, maybe even accessory, if it's available, you could just like equip that that loadout.
Your play style with new uniforms imbued with...
Where are you saying it says this shows leather gloves, wooden bangle, and power wrist guards? There is equipment preset, I see that. Is it separate though?
System for sure.
Because like when with Freelancer, she has leather gloves, wooden bangle, power wrist guards, and then she equips the fit, and it doesn't change. Doesn't change any of this. She still has leather gloves, wooden bangle, power wrist guards. So maybe you equip the Black Mage, and then you go to your equipment preset, and you change that as well. Also, yeah, her stats didn't change either. So I don't know if maybe this is just because it's a trailer and they haven't like done it yet. But when I equip Black Mage, it would be great if this stuff also changed with it, and you could see the attribute change. You know what I mean? But maybe they're just not there yet. Or you equip this, and then you go to your equipment preset, and you equip Black Mage preset, and then you're good to go. Whatever. But yeah, I just hope that there's a reason to swap these often, and it's not just, okay, I'm going to equip Monk with Tifa, I'm going to equip Warrior with Cloud, I'm going to equip Black Mage with Red 13, and then I'm just going to stick with those for the whole game because that's what I decided. You know what I mean? Like, we need a reason to be swapping these constantly, or even switch them like in combat. So, but as long as there's a reason to actually switch these and have presets for them, this could be a game changer. This could totally change the way we play through the game, which is needed because when I was looking at the combat from before, I mean, yes, it looks amazing as always, but this looks like Rebirth to me. You know what I mean? This looks like the same thing we were doing in Rebirth. So,
seamlessly switch between party members to even the odds.
and I'm fine with that, but I know a lot of people are saying, like, I don't necessarily want to play Remake Combat 3 games in a row, and I get that. So we do need something to really change it up, and this could be that if they do it right.
Function integrated
So we'll see.
tactical suitwear,
Also,
or the
seems
fits
like there's
to
a
try
ton of
the
them.
sun for size.
Like, looks like there's a ton of them, and it also looks like they get different ones. You don't just get a list of them and then pick who gets what. It seems like each character has different ones. 4,
Function
okay. So
integrate
I feel like it would be better. I feel like it would be better if there was just a list of like 12 and you just picked, like, everyone could pick them. You know what I mean? If Cloud has 4 of them and they're like Warrior, Black Mage, White Mage, and Rogue, I think I'm just going to pick the one I like and stick with it, to be honest. But we'll see.
style with new uniforms imbued with unique movesets. Alongside your equipment and materia, Fitz gives you an extra edge in battle.
I mean,
To
either
face
way,
what's
they still
coming,
look cool.
You'll need all the strength you can muster. Sensing its fate hanging in the balance, the planet itself has unleashed its last line of defense. The weapons, ancient beasts that are larger than life and capable of untold destruction.
And that's the baby.
Will you be enough to stop them before it's too late? As the world is torn apart, you and your friends must unite. In Revelation,
Wutai
we
looks
come
so
to the
sick.
thrilling conclusion of the Final Fantasy
We have the
VII
Tifa
saga,
escape scene, of
and
course.
your mission is clear. Take up your Buster Sword, equip your materia, and stand together.
Here's this random Genova fight. So we were thinking, like, is this going back to City and you're fighting this? Or is this literally like endgame material? But I don't think it is because it's not, doesn't look like Synthesis.
One last time.
These skies belong to me!
I guess it's just Genova Death. Yeah, because this looks, I mean, maybe this is Crater. It looks, but then again, it's Genova Death, so it makes sense. The fire makes sense, right?
Time.
So it's got to just be Genova Death. Okay, I'm thinking too far into it. Oh, look at that. Look at this slap. Look at this. This is my first time doing a movie and I don't know how to hit someone without actually hitting them type slap. Did they know it's a video game that he doesn't have to like pretend to slap him? He can actually slap him. Okay, so now they do this thing where they pretend that they're not going to show a sapphire weapon. They had everything loaded up for this. They had like the Street Fighter thing where they pretend that's it, and then they show another trailer, and then show another trailer, and then show another trailer, and then now they're doing it again, where they're like, that's it, and then just kidding, we're actually going to show the whole thing. So this is really interesting, and it's also interesting that this is the final thing they show, because this says a lot about how they're doing this game.
Get the cannon back online! Now!
So this was for us. This is for us. This is their We See You, Final Fantasy VII fans. So he dodges the bullet. Look at this. This is their it does cut this off, yeah. but he dodges the bullet. This is their, we see you, Final Fantasy VII fans. This was always stupid. This was always stupid that he just gets shot in the face and you never get to fight him. So now we're having him dodge the bullet. And maybe we fight him, maybe we don't, who knows? Maybe they just shoot him again and he dies. But this is definitely, I mean, there's a reason they showed this last. They're like, you know, you've always wanted to fight Sapphire Weapon. The part where he just gets shot in the face was always kind of a thing we had to do because we didn't have time to truly do Sapphire Weapon correctly. Now we're doing it correctly. Or we play the game, he just gets shot in the face 2 seconds later. But regardless, I do feel like this was a message to us. That's the reason why they showed it last. And then, of course, we get the spring 2027. And I have to give them so much credit here. And they did the same with Rebirth. But, man, can we just appreciate the fact that not only is it launching simultaneously on all platforms, which is dope, especially Windows. I mean, they said in their big thing, I think it was 2 years ago, that they were going to start focusing more on PC ports and stop doing this stupid crap where they release the PC port 2 years later and it sucks. So we kind of expected this, but then also when they stopped the deal with Sony, we kind of also expected this would happen. The fact that it's releasing on Switch 2 is crazy, but the rest of this, you know, I at least expected. But man, can we just give them credit? All these other games coming out and just saying like 2027, see you there. And they could have, with Remake and also a lot of their other games of the past, they would announce it 2 years prior to it being done and just be like, wish list now. And that's all we'd get for the first trailer. Wish list now. And then there'd be another trailer. Wish list now. And then another trailer. Wish list now. And then another trailer coming out in 2 years. And another trailer. Just kidding. Now it's coming out in 2 years. And another trailer. Okay, it's coming out next year. And then another trailer. Oh, we moved it back because we had to. They just sat and said nothing. This entire time, we have gotten zero info on this game. The first anything we get is the final announcement of Summer Game Fest, and they already have a release window. We don't get a release date, but no one expected that. But just the fact that we actually genuinely get a window, and I believe this window as well, because you can see how much they have done with the game. But I just really appreciate that, you know, especially being a content creator as well. I don't have to sit here and wait to see what the actual window is going to be and wait 2 years of them just saying, oh, we're working on it. Oh, we're working on it. And they could have easily shown something over the last year and just said, you know, wish list now. But they didn't. They waited until now, until they can actually give us a window. So big props to them for that. And that's pretty much it.
Ends here.
I have to show this because this is awesome. So did you guys notice Cloud? Episode 1 was Cloud on the cover. Episode 2 was Aerith on the cover. Episode 3, Sephiroth on the cover. You know what that's referencing, right? You know what that's referencing? The original game, because we have Cloud on the front, and then you open it up, and it's Aerith inside the first cover, and then take out the third disc, and it's Sephiroth on the last cover, so it's a reference to the original. I mean, that's just crazy. Like, the fact that they thought that far ahead from the beginning to reference the original case is, like, so cool. But yeah, other than that, you know, there's not much else to say. I do want to say that no Zack. No Zack at all. No Zack, no Aerith. So either they're waiting on that, and that's going to be like the Laguna side series of the game, where throughout the game we kind of randomly take control of Zack and Aerith or something. Or they're just completely gone till the end of the game, or whatever. I mean, I kind of agree. Why show them now? They're focusing on the main characters and the combat and what's going to get us hooked, and then later they might show some teaser stuff for that. I don't think they want to. I mean, they don't want to scare people off, so they don't want to start this trailer with like, oh, there's multiple universes and stuff. They want to just be like, look, fun game, and then later they'll talk about that stuff, or they'll never talk about it and it'll just be in the game. But yeah, just interesting that there's like no Zack at all, not even like a little hint. Usually they would do like a little thing at the end where a feather drops down and there's a different picture of the dog, and it's like, this is Zack, or you know what I mean? Like they did that with Rebirth too. Even at the beginning of Rebirth was Zack pulling Cloud to Midgar, you know? So Remake and Rebirth, they were very, even from the very beginning, they were very heavy on the multiple universe thing and trying to like sell it. Here, there's just nothing. So either they're saving it or they're just trying to, get people invested without losing them. So I guess we'll see. Also, I can't wait to see the episode 1, 2, and 3 combo pack for $300 or whatever. That'll be interesting. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say about it. I don't know if you guys had anything in particular you wanted to bring up. But they're mostly just showing the obvious stuff here. So there's not a lot to say about that. The biggest take home is Highwind, like within the first few hours of the game. I think that really shows us where they're going with this. Remake was straight linear the whole game. Rebirth was, let's start linear and be mostly linear, but let's have these open areas as you go. And then this game feels like it's going to be even more open. I think it's going to be linear at the start, and then it's really going to open up. And it's going to be a case of like, almost like GTA style, where it's just, you can go anywhere and do anything. And then whenever you're ready, go to this point on the map to continue the story. Someone said earlier that there was an interview that they said like half the map is open at the start. So I'm not sure if that's like until you get Cloud back or something. Like maybe you can only do the Tifa sections until you get Cloud back or whatever. But either way, I think it's going to be very open from the start. The more I look at these trailers, the more I'm interested in whether or not it actually even starts with Great Glacier, or if we start with some other stuff first and then we go to Great Glacier. So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even start with that, but I think that would be the best way to do it. I think you start off with a very linear climb up Great Glacier into Crater, and then it ends with like a big epic battle with Genova Death, and then you lose Cloud and you get introduced to the open world, but it's only like half the open world, and you just have Tifa and Sid in the party, and you have to go do some stuff, and then you go get Cloud, and then it opens up to like the whole world. I think that would be the best way to do it, but I don't know. And I also don't know how the live stream scene is going to work. We even got a mini live stream scene in Rebirth, so maybe that whole thing is just going to be different. And maybe Cloud doesn't come to the revelation until like the end of the game, which I'd be fine with, like I said, because that's the real climax of the game. It works in the original because it's like 75% through the game, but because this was split, now it doesn't work as well because it would be like 30% into the third game. So if they want to move that and have Cloud basically be Zack Cloud for the first 75% of episode 3, and then he doesn't actually make the revelation until maybe like City visit or something, I would be fine with that. And I'm very fine with them changing Disc 3 or Disc 2 quite a bit. I've been vocal about this in the past. You know, the way that Midgar plays out is very important to the story of Final Fantasy VII. The way that the end of Disc 1 plays out is very important to the story of Final Fantasy VII. The way Disc 2 plays out is not important to the story of Final Fantasy VII. The way that like you go to Fort Condor, and then you go to the train, and then you go to the underwater reactor, and then you go to the Rocket Town thing, that's not important. Anyone that's saying the game has to be that way, they just want it to be like the original because they like the original. It's not important that we do those in that order. There's not some big thing with Cloud's psyche or Aerith's story or whatever that it needs to be done in that order. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with them totally changing that and just doing their own thing for Disc 2, as long as the big critical points are where they should be, or at least we get those themes at the right times, you know? So I'm excited. I would genuinely be okay with them just doing crazy weapon battles in every area. Like you just go to Fort Condor or do Fort Condor stuff, and then you fight a big weapon. And then you go to Rocket Town, you do Rocket Town stuff, and then you fight a big weapon. Then you go to Wutai and you do Wutai stuff, and you fight a big weapon. That would be great. I think they could make that work. So we'll see. I think my biggest thing that I want to see is what they were talking about in the second trailer about each character getting their moment. I want to go to Rocket Town and I want everything to stop with all the other characters. I don't want Cloud having visions of Aerith. I don't want Sephiroth coming in and cutting the rocket in half. I want like everything to stop and we just get Cid's story. We just get to listen to and understand Cid's story. And then we go to Wutai, and I know Wutai is going to be huge because they've been building it up for 3 games, but I hope we at least get a moment where we can just have Yuffie. Have Yuffie, have her story. We learn about her past and her dad and everything, and we just get to have like her moment. And then maybe we go back to Nibelheim and we get a big moment with Tifa, or maybe Tifa's moment is just the live stream scene. And then we also get a moment with Vincent where we go back into the Shinra Mansion and we learn about Vincent's past. Like I just want a moment with each character, because now that we've gone through all these games, we need to kind of come back to square one and learn why these characters are important and why the ending is going to be as important as it is, you know? I mean, Red 13, we've had so much like movement in Red 13's story and Rebirth, but we need to have kind of a conclusion to it in part 3 as well, because in the original Final Fantasy VII, Red 13's story ends in Cosmo Canyon. That's it. We get Red 13's story, and then he's just there for the rest of the game. We never go back to I mean, we get like the moment with him and Bugenhagen, which is an optional scene, by the way. You don't even have to go do that. But you get the moment with him and Bugenhagen, and that's it. So hopefully we get that scene. Hopefully it's big and memorable and not just a little thing. So that Red 13 feels relevant in part 3. Because if you were to make part 3 a play-by-play remake or remaster of the original game, Red 13 would not be there. He would just be in the background saying some jokes, and that would be it, because he does not get a big moment in Disc 2. So, yeah, I just hope we get a moment with each character so that when we get to the end, everyone feels like they belong. I want this big moment on the Highwind where Cloud says, you guys figure out why you want to go fight and come back, and they all come back, and they all have their moment. Like that's what I'm looking forward to the most. So we'll see. Maybe we get the Gi tribe to come back. They did kind of talk about maybe the Gi tribe being more important. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to more mini games. We need more mini games. There weren't enough mini games in Rebirth. We need twice the mini games. Just kidding. maybe they learn from their mistakes in Rebirth, and you know, we go to each area and we do the story, and then the mini game is kind of like optional if you stay there, you know. For example, we go to Fort Condor, we do the final Fort Condor battle, maybe we fight a weapon there because why not? And then if we return to Fort Condor, now we can do Fort Condor mini games, but it's not like part of the main quest when you go there. You know, same with Wutai. Maybe we go to Wutai, we do the main story, we do the main quest, we learn about Yuffie, and then we can leave, or we can stay and do goofy Wutai side quest stuff. Maybe we do the pagoda. Maybe there's something else to do there, you know. I think that would work better. I think one issue that a lot of people had with Rebirth over the years that we've talked about it, and as we've had more people in the community play Rebirth, a big issue people have is just the amount of forced minigames. The minigames are fun, and they're different enough that they don't get stale, but there's just so many forced that people that aren't really into the minigames get really frustrated because there's so many they have to play to continue on with the story. A lot of it's optional, but a lot of it is not optional. So that's one thing they can do in Revelation, is just make not as many forced minigames. You can have a million minigames if you want, but just don't have as many that are forced in the game. And given how open it's going to be, and just thinking about the things that we have to do, I don't think that'll be the case. I mean, when you think about Disc 2, or when you think about Rebirth, we had to go on the boat. We had to go to Costa del Sol. We had to go to Gold Saucer. That was all part of the main story. So it just made sense that there was a lot of mini games because those are like the mini game places. So, but yeah, hopefully they learn for Revelation. We won't. Maybe we won't have Chadley giving us as many chores, or maybe he'll be there from the start. Maybe the first character on screen when you start the game is Chadley. Maybe he just appears and he's like, "Welcome to Final Fantasy VII Revelation." That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants Chadley to be the main character.